I just wanted to thank you so very, very, very much for being such a big fan of the X-Files.
Hey, Valerie, it's Annabeth Gish. Happy birthday and happy X-Fest-versary.
Hey, Drew, it's Dee Wallace. How are you, my friend?
Hello to the Hill Street Blues Group. Try to say that 10 times in a row.
I got contacted by your daughter, Caitlin, who loves you very much and is very proud of you, as I am for your service to the community.
Hi, Bonnie. It's me, Stephen Weber, and I am a gift from Mary Beasley to you, you lucky lady.
Hello, Alondra. It's so nice to, speak to you in this video greeting. Thank you so much for reaching out to me, and I'm happy to reach out to you.
Happy birthday, and again, thanks for being a Wishmaster fan. Happy birthday.
Hey, Alex and Munchkin, thanks you so much for being an X-File fan.
Hey there, this is Dennis O'Hare in Paris. A happy birthday, Sarah, from Nick and Zoe.
Hi, Hill Street Blues fan group. Thanks for watching.
Hello, Alfredo. It's Billy. Great pleasure. I'm so glad you're such a fan of Titanic. I am too, I have to say.
Hey, Garrett. This is Barbara Crampton, and I want to tell you that you need to finish whatever creative project you're working on.
Eric Freeman, the garbage guy. Yeah, the garbage guy.
And thank you so much for being such a great fan and friend.
Hey everybody, welcome to another Full Empire Promotions live event. I'm Dominic. I'll be your host for this special Q&A with Stephen McHattie. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, so thanks so much to everyone who's joining us live. If you'd like to ask Stephen any questions or leave any comments, please feel free to do so, and we'll bring those on screen and address them. Following this Q&A, you can have your own private conversation with Stephen, as he'll be doing one-on-one video meet and greets on Zoom. You can have 5 minutes to chat with Stephen about whatever you'd like, and we'll even send you a recording of your meeting. In addition, you can get personally signed photographs, as well as Funko Pops and other items at FullEmpirePromotions.com. We will end sales in about 1 hour, around 5:30 Eastern, so if you're interested in anything, I'd head over and book them now, FullEmpirePromotions.com. And guys, today we're in for a treat. We've got a great guest. He slices through the screen with charm, charisma, and a little bit of mystique. But don't take my word for it. Let's take a look at some of his career highlights.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right, old fella.
Just closing up, fellas.
Coffee? Black.
Same. I'll have some pie. Some of that lemon meringue pie.
Guys, I'm sorry. We're close. I said, coffee!
She lived here to the ripe old age of 263. A record like mine.
Jazzy here, and today we set those prisoners free. So here we go, folks. Kill is kiss. Kill is definite kiss. Now sample the staple.
Wow. He started off his career playing James Dean, and to date has appeared in over 200 films and TV shows. His credits include Pontypool, Moving Violation, 300, Watchmen, Beverly Hills Cop 3, A History of Violence, and my personal favorite, Death Valley. Recent credits include Come to Daddy, Dreamland, Mother, and the remake of David Cronenberg's Rabid. I'm thrilled to welcome a friend and one of my personal favorite actors, the immensely talented Stephen McHattie.
Hey, Dominic, how you
Stephen,
doing?
I'm good. Welcome aboard.
Good to be here.
Some of those clips bringing back some memories for you?
Yeah, I haven't seen that stuff in a long time.
So yeah, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We've got some people tuning in here. We'll bring up some questions as they come in. But how have you been during the past crazy year and a half? How have you been doing your art, and have you been keeping busy?
Yeah, I've been keeping pretty busy. Yeah, yeah, it's been strange and worrying.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. And you're up in Canada, so things are a little bit different than they are here.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Not in a good way.
Yeah. Well, we'll hope for the best, and hope that you guys are with us soon.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the only times Canadians wish they were American. So I'd like to start off asking about your origins a bit. You were born in Nova Scotia. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Were you a film fan growing up? Did you watch a lot of movies and listen to radio?
Yeah, I grew up on radio. I never saw TV until I was, I don't know, in high school, I think. But yeah, a lot of movies. We had a great repertory theater in our little town I grew up in. And I was an usher and behind the popcorn maker and all that stuff. And in the projection booth, I'd pick up the reels from the bus stop, I used to load up the projector. I saw, they used to play 3 movies a week, unless it was a big hit.
Wow.
And it was great. And I saw probably every showing of most of them.
Very cool. What initially drew you to the arts, and what came first for you? Was it acting or painting?
No, I got into it because I was in a little university town, and a professor came and wanted to start a theater, and we had a he started in a big auditorium. We had about, I don't know, this is before TV, so we had about 2,000 seat theater we were working in on the university campus. And so my mother was in some of the productions, and she got me doing carpentry and lighting. So that was how I got into it. I just kind of got into it,
Right.
and loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you definitely seem like a natural. So, it's a way that you took that step and moved in front of the camera.
Yeah. It was, before TV took over, things were looked at so differently. And theater was very popular in every town in Canada, I think. And it's all disappeared.
Wow.
Too bad.
Yeah, you think it all moved to New York?
I think it all went into the warehouse.
Oh no. Yeah. Well, I'm sure you have very fond memories of theater.
Yeah.
And,
I had a great time.
do you remember any plays or performances that stand out that you did that you were really proud of?
Boy, I was so excited to be doing it. I wasn't even. I remember the first walk-on role I got. Playing the mailed the newspaper delivery guy in our town, little kid on a bike. You got to ride on stage on a bike and throw the newspaper. Yeah, I thought it was great. And then I got, more and more speaking parts. And suddenly I was doing lead roles. This is when I was in high school and and I went to college in the same town. So I probably did about, 60 productions, different plays. We did everything from Shakespeare to Shaw to musicals, great fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think there's something about the live aspect where, you've got to make sure you hit your mark because there's no retakes. So I guess it could be an adrenaline too.
Yeah, it is a blast.
Well, I understand Eli Wallach, I had read, was one of the actors who sort of inspired and mentored you. I don't believe everything I read on the internet. So is there any truth to that?
Absolutely none.
Well, that's why I don't believe everything I read on the internet. That's what it says on various sources. It says Eli Wallach was a mentor for you.
No, the first movie I ever did, The People Next Door, he was the one of the stars, and he was an absolute prick. I want to speak ill of the dead. Yeah, he barely talked to me.
Well, that's not very mentoring.
Well, it's mentoring in a way.
Yeah, I don't think it's a way that's going to get you many jobs. But did you have any actors that sort of were inspirations for you that you watched and inspired you to work?
Yeah, George C. Scott. I knew him and his ex-wife Colleen Dewhurst. I worked with her a lot. And every time Mr. Scott did a show in New York, which was quite often in the 70s, 60s and 70s, I caught every performance I could. Yeah. I thought he was great. He was great. Great on film, but even better on stage, I thought. Wonderful actor.
Yeah, I love a film he did called The Changeling.
Yeah.
He's a good like shouter. Like he gets you like hyped up with his voice and his when he shouts.
Yeah.
He's definitely a talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We've got Ross watching. He runs the biggest Jaws social media account, the Daily Jaws. Spelled his name wrong there, Ross, but it's okay. Thanks for watching. A few other people. See if there's any questions popping up here. Dawn is giving you some comments there. She loves Pontypool.
Well, thanks, Don.
Yeah. Got a Dreamland fan here. Let's see if there's anybody asking questions. Dawn is also saying she wished her role was bigger in Come to Daddy. But, hey, it was an important part. Okay, so we'll jump to early TV career. You started off on an episode of Adam 12 and Starsky and Hutch. What do you remember about working on TV in the 70s when you went to LA?
Yeah, it was really a different, much more structured. Yeah, it's hard to put. I never thought about it much, what the difference was between then and now. But when they had those series rolling, when they've been on a few years, it was really, like a machine. You didn't get to change the script at all. It was very cut and dried. What was expected of you, and very, used to work. They had a lot more money to put in, so you'd work much longer hours. I remember I did a couple of, I think, 2 or 3 Kojaks, right? And they would be like 17, 18-hour days, Wow. But, they were, the scripts were very tight. And I've never looked at them again to see what they look like now, But I have a hunch that Kojak was pretty good. I don't know what it looks like now, but certainly in terms of you could say a lot of things that you could never say now on TV.
Right.
You know, attitudes, and it was so different.
Yeah. Well, Kent McCord is a good friend, client of mine, and we talked about Adam 12 a couple of months ago, and how that series isn't really dated. It's still very relevant today. Aside from the clothes that people are wearing in the cars, it's not everything. All those issues are still relevant today, and even that show, a lot of that stuff wouldn't be made today, or it would be changed.
Yeah.
So, man, I wish I was around back then. Well, you landed the iconic role of James Dean for a biopic in 1976. Do you recall how you were selected for that role, and what preparations you did to prepare for playing such a pop culture icon?
Yeah, I was doing a play in New York called Alive and Well in Argentina. And it was James Dean, Amelia Earhart, and Adolf Hitler living in a hotel in Argentina. So producer Bill Bass came to see it, and and then the audition process started, and I auditioned once in New York, I think, and then I had to go out to LA twice, to audition on film. And they were trying to cook up a little publicity about it, saying who was in contention for it, right? And so they kind of drug it out, Yeah, it was, it was before they started doing biopics of actors, right? And he was not that cold in the ground at that time.
Right.
So it felt a little odd. You know, I kind of knew it was going to have, it was going to be looked at a little weirdly, you know?
Right.
But God, you know, I every time I catch a glimpse of James Dean, it's amazing how powerful his presence still is.
Yeah, and for being around such a short time too, to making it that big of an impact, and you know, die so young, it says something.
Yeah.
Well, you did a great job of capturing his vibe. You know, for sure. I mean, it's.
Well, thanks.
It's available. You know,
it was fun doing it. Exciting, and you know, I knew it had its hazards. You know, because after that, you know, people would, you know, I'd go meet people for movie roles, and they would say, "Oh, he thinks he's James Dean." So I went back and did theater for 4 or 5 years just to get out of it, you know. Things are much smaller group of people involved in Hollywood and in New York then.
Right.
So everybody pretty much, you know, once you've done a few things and caught some attention, you pretty much knew most people in the business, you know, one way or another.
Right. Are you an actor who likes watching yourself on screen, or are you overcritical of yourself?
Yeah, I kind of stay away from it. You know, I hate watching it on the set. You know, it's a weird thing. I remember when I first started doing movies, it was always a fight over, you know, how many takes you got, and you could get into a whole trip of, you know, and I remember actors, especially in TV, you know, if you're doing a movie of the week or something, people would get into, you know, I am demanding another take, and, you know, I've got it in my contract, you know, all that kind of crap. And because it was film, actual film, instead of digitized, it was a much bigger deal to get another take, you know? And it was usually because an actor wanted to work some little bit of business in or some attitude in, which really in the long run didn't matter at all, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, watching yourself, yeah, I kind of weaned myself. After I kind of went through that first couple of movies I did, I figured out that I couldn't deal with it that way. So I just wouldn't look.
Right.
You know, playback, that was when playback started coming in. Yeah.
So you were never one to look at the dailies. You just
I did go to the dailies.
Did you?
Yeah. Back when it was filmed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was in the first few films I did, and then I got out of it. I stopped doing it. You know, you get into, you know, it's so hard to tell how a part is gonna hold together.
Right.
You know, from the individual scenes to the finished movie, how it's going to be cut, what it's going to ultimately mean in the movie. You know. But yeah, it's very easy going to the dailies and getting very upset about how things were shot and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. Great. We have a question here from the Daily Jaws asking, is there any one character you have only played once you would like to play again in a new story, and why? It's a good question.
But yeah, the way I look at it, I look at the story as the character as part of a story. So I can't see the character. I know a lot of, like we did that with Pontypool to Dreamland, right? But it was really it became a different character. So, worlds of movies, I would, sometimes toy around with how to do them differently, but a character, no. Okay. Yeah, because you're it's a year or two later, you feel differently about the world, you look at the world, I kind of like being attached more to the present,
Absolutely. Great question there. Well, I want to ask about moving violation because it's a guilty pleasure. I love the film. It's just so wild of a movie. It's nonstop once it starts. It starts off with you with a smashed guitar and an ice cream cone, and then it's just 90 minutes of nonstop, chase. And you worked with a lot of great legends on that one with Lonnie Chapman, Eddie Elbert, Jack Murdoch. As a young actor, did you learn anything watching those guys?
Yeah. I'm not sure what, but I kind of learned more from watching stage actors than I did movie actors. I don't know why. But yeah, that was interesting. The thing that sticks in my head was we were, like, that was back when all the stunts were actually real. They were actual. And we had one, we were up in back of LA, I think. Yeah. And we were on a deserted highway and we were doing chases, and we had one where it was me and Kay Lenz in the car. A motorcycle cop was supposed to come tearing up behind us, and I slam on the brakes. He hits the back of the car and flips over the car, right? And Roger, the producer, didn't want to pay, what the stunt guy thought was a good price for that stunt because it's kind of tricky and dangerous.
Yes.
So a young guy appeared on the set from Oklahoma. Big, good-looking guy, and he said that he would do it, right? And the producer was kind of playing the game of chicken with the stunt coordinator, and so he said, "Okay, you're up. You can do it, right? I'm going to hire you." So the guy got on the bike, and he was good on the bike. I was driving the car, and we walked through it a couple of times and then we get into it and I was going pretty good. And I slam on the brakes and the guy hits the back of my car with his Harley, with his motorbike. And he did not flip. So he came sailing, I'm watching in the rearview mirror. He came sailing in the seated position and his knees went through the rear windshield.
Oh.
And it broke both his legs and flipped him up, and he bounced off the hood, right? And luckily I managed to stop the car by that point. Otherwise I would have run over him.
Boy.
It broke both his legs. And, he was a young guy and full of adrenaline at that point. And
holy cow.
He went into, that happened right before lunch. We went into lunch and he made it into the lunchroom, waited in line, sat down for lunch, and everybody's saying, I'm saying, you got to go to a doctor, right? But I don't know what happened to him, you know.
Wow. Well, he must have been hungry.
But he had 2 broken thigh bones, and he was walking around on them.
Wow.
Too, you know, embarrassed and cranked up.
Wow. Holy, yeah, that's something that stays with you. I'm sure, you being in the driver's seat. You know, holy cow.
Yeah, not a pleasant.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you enjoy working with Kay Lenz on the film?
Oh yeah, she was great. Yeah. Yeah, very sweet.
Very cool. Yeah, it's hard to believe that was L.A. You know, it looks like, if you watch it today, it looks like Montana or Arizona. Like, it doesn't, you know.
I know, we did that all around LA. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. How it's changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paula is watching. She says, does Stephen still do stage work? If so, I see a future field trip. Also, is there a stage role he has always wanted to portray, but not yet had the opportunity?
No, I haven't been doing theater in a long time. No. Yeah, there's a lot of parts, mostly classical parts, that I would be interested in doing. But I have 3 kids.
Theater doesn't pay much, huh?
Rumor has it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, you got to go, you know, if you're working in New York, you gotta be there.
Right. Right.
For at least 5 months, or if you're lucky, a year, you know.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I have to mention Death Valley. Out of all, you know, I've seen almost all of your work, and this is still, I think, my favorite character that you played. He was just a great bad guy.
I've never seen that.
You've never seen the film?
No.
Wow, you should check it out. It's I think it's on Amazon, but it's.
Yeah, I should look at it.
It has a really gritty isolation kind of feel.
Yeah.
And a great cast. What do you remember about working with the director, Dick Richards?
Oh, he was good. He was good to work with. You know, he was much more a kind of technical guy. You know, because he used to at that time he was teaching design up in Rhode Island School of Design. So he was very into placement and lighting, and you know, much more than the acting thing. You know. But a very pleasant guy. My one vivid memory from that is we were shooting at night we were in a cowboy, you know, fake cowboy town outside of Phoenix, I think, or Phoenix, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And night, and that was when we heard over the radio that John Lennon died, you know, got shot. Yes, I remember where I was when John Lennon got shot.
Wow. And I'd have to ask, because he was a friend. What do you remember about working with the late great Wilford Brimley? He when I asked him about Death Valley, he'd refer to you as that talented Canadian kid. Everybody was a kid to Wilford.
Yeah. Yeah, he was one of the, you know, he was an actual guy, you know. He was a blacksmith and you know, he knew a lot about horses, and he was great to hang with. Just a lovely guy. I mean, he was, he acted himself very well. You know, that was him.
Yeah. Yeah, he started off his career playing one of the apes in Planet of the Apes. He was the first ape that you see riding a horse.
No kidding.
Yeah. He had to train all the other guys stuntmen playing apes how to ride horses.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Little unknown fact there. And he was Howard Hughes' bodyguard for a brief time.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I got a lot of great stories from hanging with him. But you're right. He was funny and didn't even know it. You know, he was just being himself, and he was this old cowboy that, you know, he fell in love with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you had to kill him.
Yeah.
On screen. Very cool. Well, yeah, you should go back and look at Death Valley. It holds up well. You know, and I'm not going to ruin the twist at the end, but were you shocked at the twist with your character when you read the script?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny. I've been living in LA for a few years, you know, going back and forth. And I did Death Valley right before I moved back to New York, you know, to live.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of funny. It was, you know, it kind of sticks in my head that it was, you know, during a big transition for me, you know.
Right.
Because I really decided I couldn't take being in LA, you know, being there all the time.
Very cool. Yeah. I never knew this. Dick Richards was considered to direct Jaws before Spielberg, but kept referring to the shark as a whale. That's a good reason not to hire him. Thanks for that, Ross. Never knew that. Never knew that. Yeah. Well, let's talk about Seinfeld, because from what I remember, you haven't done much comedy, but you played the part of Dr. Reston on Seinfeld. Were you aware of how big the fan base was for this before you got hired?
Didn't have a clue. You know, I remember people saying it was a big deal, you know, but I'd never seen it. So, yeah.
Do you enjoy doing comedy?
Huh?
Do you enjoy doing comedy?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think you're, you know, how I know you, I think you're pretty witty. So it's a shame that, well, you get some dark humor in there a lot of times with your roles.
Yeah, I try to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a lot of comedy on stage. So, yeah, Seinfeld. I think that was what season was that? The third?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, it hadn't really hit big, I don't think, at that point. I don't think.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it to this day either, but everybody that I know says, you know, you should watch it. You know, it's a great show, but I just, you know, don't have a lot of free time. So, but yeah, we have a fan here asking, do you enjoy voice acting?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I don't know. I know people get, you know, those movies that are real big now, the animated ones.
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch, you know. You know, I've done a few, you know, video games and that kind of thing.
Right. Did Justice League. Yeah, so he did a character in Justice League.
Yeah, things like that.
Right.
But I've never done, you know, a big part in an animated thing, you know?
Well,
so
I'm sure it's coming around the corner for you.
What?
I said, I'm sure it's coming around the corner for you because everybody loves your voice. So.
Yeah. God, there was one I was doing. I can't even remember what it was.
Yeah, well, you've done a lot, so it's hard to keep up. Well, we'll move on and talk about quickly about working with John Landis on Beverly Hills Cop 3. Talk about a guy who knows comedy. What is your memory of working with Landis? Did you have fond memories of that?
Yeah. It was. you know, yeah, number two didn't. It wasn't. You know, I don't think Eddie Murphy was really into it too much doing that movie. I think he had his arm twisted a bit to do it. And so there was that kind of tension around the joint, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, it was fun, you know? Eddie didn't seem too excited about it.
Right.
Yeah, he was doing his job, but he didn't, you know.
Yeah, playing the same character for the third time. I guess he was over it, you know, by then. Great. Well, we've got a lot of viewers asking about the X-Files. You did 2 episodes of that with a character called the Red-Haired Man, who was pretty manipulative. What do you recall about working on the X-Files, and did you enjoy working with David Duchovny?
Yeah. That was in Vancouver, so it was, very creepy. You know, the things they were alluding to in the X-Files, you know, kind of, I guess they knew a lot more than they were telling us. So it was, it was good. It was good. The director of that was really good. I forget his name though, but he was a really good director.
Yeah, the X-Files, a lot of those episodes were so well done. You know, they could have been features.
Yeah.
I thought, you know, the series was just so good in its infancy.
Yep.
Well, we go from one iconic sci-fi series to another. After that, you worked on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Were you a Trekkie before you were hired? And
No.
What did you think of the craziness and success of this series?
And that was when before they've, you know, the prosthetic things have come a long way since then, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I remember when they started putting that stuff on me, you know, I felt like my head was 20 pounds heavier. You know, and you have to leave it on all day, right? So that part of it was not fun. But I've never seen that one either. So, but I know it kind of had its moments where it was, you know, it succeeded in the point it was making, you know, the effect it was going for.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen it?
I have not. I'm not a Trekkie at all. I am not. I've seen your episodes of the X-Files, but not Trek.
Yep.
Yeah. Is it difficult to get dialogue out when you're wearing prosthetics?
No. Those were, you know, the guys who did that were old timers in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And they knew how to do that stuff to make it, you know, not too hard for the actor, right. You know. I remember I was doing a play, I was doing Ibsen's Ghosts in Pittsburgh at the American Ibsen Theater at, where was it, Marymount College, I think. We had a summer theater there, an Ibsen theater. We did nothing but Ibsen. Wow. And they were trying to make a life mask of me. And they encased my head in plaster. But they forgot to put the, you know, you put plastic inside the plaster and you know where to cut it. And they couldn't get it off.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And they saw it off with a hacksaw.
Jeez, like being buried alive.
What?
I said it must feel like being buried alive.
Yeah. You feel like a sucker. How did I get into this? I was actually hitting my head against the wall to try to crack it. So no, the guys in Hollywood knew what they were doing.
Wow. Yeah, that must have turned you off from prosthetics a little bit after that.
Yeah, it made an impression on me.
Yeah, there's probably still a big dent in the wall there.
Yeah.
Well, we'll jump ahead a little bit and talk about your work in the Jesse Stone films with Tom Selleck. You did a great. You worked with a great director on that as well, Mark Harmon, who made a film called The Hitcher, which most people may not know. You were almost in that film. Is that correct?
That's right. That's why I wound up doing the Jesse Stone thing.
Cool.
He remembered me from that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Those were terrific little. They took a lot of care doing those, and they did them in Nova Scotia, and I'm from there, so it was great doing those. I don't know if they've done any more of them. I don't know. Have they? You know?
They did the last one. I believe you were not in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a while ago. They haven't done any more since then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you enjoy working with Tom Selleck?
Yeah. Yeah. Big guy.
Yeah.
Have you met him?
I have not met him. I'd like to, but
yeah, a good guy.
Yeah.
Seemed to, you know, and we had, good to work with.
Yeah. The Daily Jones has mentioned the director on the X-Files was Rob Bowman.
That's right. Yeah.
Rob Bowman, good director.
Yeah.
So the part in The Hitcher that you were up for was initially the role that Rutger Hauer got, right? The lead.
Yeah.
Wow. You would have done really well with that. I mean, it's hard to imagine anybody else but him. But
yeah, he was good in it. I saw that movie. He was good in it.
Yeah, but I could definitely see you doing really well in that role. I think you guys have some similarities, you know, in your style.
Maybe.
Yeah. See if we have any questions popping up here. Someone's asking about The Strain. What was it like playing Vaughn on The Strain? Was her favorite character?
Yeah, that was another one with the prosthetics. You know, you have to come in like 3 hours before call. It was 3 hours in the chair, and then a couple hours after you wrap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very true. That was kind of hard, moving and all that stuff, because I was really loaded up with prosthetics. But I think, you know, sometimes you have limitations with that. It helps because it's, you know, you have a really tight framework around you to work in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was pleased with how that turned out. The characters seemed to had a good effect. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'd mentioned, you know, it's one of my favorite characters as well, and I feel like he was killed off a little too quick. You know, I felt like they were setting him up to be, you know, a lead character that was, you know, going to be likable and sympathetic.
Yeah.
But in between season 1 and 2, they kind of, you know, wrote him off, which was a shame.
Yeah.
Did they? I guess they did manipulate your voice for that character because it kind of had like an echoing effect.
Yeah, they did. They did. Yeah. Guillermo, he liked playing with the dials.
Yeah, very cool. Well, you got an action figure out of it.
Oh, no kidding.
You know?
Yeah. Just like me.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a great show though. I wish they'd kept your character around longer, but he made a good impact for the few episodes that he was around.
Yeah.
Let's see if we have any other questions. Okay, so we'll chat about Pontypool a little bit, as most people really enjoy that film. What was it like working alongside? Well, first we'll ask you about Bruce McDonald, I think this was your second film with him. I think you did one before The Dark Room. Was that before this?
No, I first started working with him. I was doing a TV series down in Prince Edward Island, and he came down to direct an episode. And that was about in, I don't know, 98, 99, something like that. And we were, we became friends then. And we stayed in touch. And I remember he sent me Tony Burgess's book when I was still living in California, and said he was making a movie of it. And but we did probably, I don't know, 10 things before. We did Pontypool.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. What attracts you to working with Bruce?
Oh, he's kind of very unusual guy. The amount of got a mosquito chasing me. He gives you a lot more room. I mean, a lot of it has to do with, you can feel the way a director is looking, what he's looking at, where his attention is. And I kind of take their lead from that, what a director thinks is important.
Yeah, very cool.
And Bruce is, he's just a lovely guy. And I get along with him great. And we don't have to, I don't know, we don't have to talk much. We don't argue sometimes, but not much. Great guy to work with.
Right.
It's hard to explain why. Some people, you like them or you dislike them.
Right. Well, he's your Scorsese and you're his De Niro. So, you guys just have that connection.
Yeah, we've done a lot of things together. Yeah.
Absolutely. We have Dawn asking if you enjoy working with your wife, Lisa, and how many films have you done with her?
Yeah, I love working with her.
I guess you kind of have to, huh?
Well, you don't have to, but I've probably done a dozen things with her. And, we met on doing a TV series that we were shooting in Vancouver and in Paris. And we were playing opposite each other, and we got along great then, and we still do. No, I'm very lucky. I've never, had big disagreements with her. I can't imagine what it would be like to, if you, working with someone that you live with or married to, and you're fighting with them. It must be, really hell.
I'd imagine.
Because you'd have no escape. No, but we get along great.
Awesome. Regarding Pontypool, the film takes place entirely in a radio station, which I believe the station itself sort of becomes a character.
Yep.
Was it a challenge to scare people without many visuals, just using your voice and facial emotions?
Yeah, I didn't look at it that way. I didn't look at it as being You know, I was just trying to do it as though it was real. I wasn't trying to do it as, you know, this will be scary, you know? You know, Tony's, it was so much fun to deliver those, you know, there were long stretches of dialogue. It's just delightful to do those, you know?
Another mosquito. Another one.
Yep.
Very cool. We have Dawn asking, who did you model the radio host Grant after, if any?
Well, I went around to a bunch of talk radio places in Toronto, and I kind of took little bits from everybody I met. You know, I would sit with them in the radio booth and just see how they did it and see how they, you know, did their segues and all that crap, you know. So I kind of took it from about 5 different guys around Toronto. And who else? Oh, I know who it was. Yeah. Lister Sinclair. Ideas. Yeah, there was a guy on CBC who used to do this great show called Ideas. And I loved it. Yeah, so I tried to take a bit of him, you know.
Right.
Lister Sinclair.
I'm going to have to look him up.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Did you ever think Pontypool was a metaphor for how brainwashed the media can make people?
Yeah.
That's what I got from it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, how manipulated are we? You know, horribly at this point.
Yeah. If you know, if everything the media says is true, then Eli Wallach was your mentor.
Yeah. I can feel it.
A lot of people were asking if there was ever a sequel plan for Pontypool.
Yeah. Tony wrote about, I think he has 5 scripts, sequels, completed, but not done as movies. Yeah, he has a whole series of movies that he wants to do. Yeah.
And did he share how the story would go? Would it just be Grant going from town to town, or did he share any of the ideas how the story would continue?
Yeah, I think the next Pontypool 2 would be Pontypool after the plague, and Grant and Sydney are in hospital trying to relearn how to. They're doing therapy, how to talk. They're trying to have their abilities therapeutically treated, and but most of it focuses on the town. Yeah.
Right.
After that, you know, kind of goes on. I haven't read them. I don't know. I've heard rumors about them.
Yeah, we'll keep our fingers crossed. Maybe a TV series. You know, Pontypool. You know, TV series would be kind of cool.
Mm.
You know, great question here. Why do you think Pontypool was so liked by most people that see it?
I think because it, you know, at the heart of it, it is about something true. You know, about propaganda and social control.
Agreed.
I don't know.
And also, I think because it's so different. You know, there really aren't many other movies you can say that it's similar to.
No.
You know,
No.
I think the film kind of falls into two categories. Either you love it or you've never seen it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody that's really watched it that said, I didn't really like it.
Yeah.
It's I recommend it to every horror friend that I can, and they all watch it and they all love it, and they've never heard of it before then. So
yeah.
So if anybody's watching this and they have not seen Pontypool, check it out. Great film. Well, we'll talk about David Cronenberg a little bit. You worked with him on A History of Violence, which we saw a little bit in that clip in the beginning, demanding your coffee.
Yeah.
And can you talk a bit about Cronenberg as a director?
Yeah. Of course, he's a big figure in Canada. And I think
everywhere.
Yeah. So it was pretty excited when he asked me to do it. His wife was the costume designer on it. She's no longer with us, I don't think, unfortunately.
No.
But I remember when I was doing the fitting, and she was talking about how he hadn't worked in about 5 years before that movie, and how he was a little nervous about getting back in the saddle again.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of went out of my way to, be very open with him, and it worked. Not worked, but it worked out great on the movie, for me and for him too, I think. Because I think the sequences, he did it pretty much in sequentially the movie. He shot the beginning of as much as he could. And so the scenes in the motel were the first shots that he did, right?
Literally.
Yeah. Yeah. It worked out really well, and he was really, you could see him get excited about doing the film, going from being nervous, which most directors hide a lot. They don't feel that they can, they can't really admit that they, sometimes you don't know what you're doing. But yeah, seeing him be pleased with it and excited about it was great. And it was he was delightful to work with.
Yeah, I hope to meet him someday. I was supposed to meet him last year, but then the pandemic screwed that up, and we lost that event. So hopefully we'll get him back to a convention soon.
Yeah.
Well, your scene in A History of Violence, you've died a lot on screen, but your death in this film was absolutely brutal. But it was also, I think, an important part of the story, because it was the first indicator to the viewer that this Vigo character really isn't who he thinks he is, who he's making himself out to be. He has a history of violence.
Yes.
The brutality. Did you get that reading the script?
Yeah. Yeah, it was quite a. Yeah, I remember talking with him, thinking, "Aren't you going a bit overboard here with a coffee container? Boiler is not going to do this to anyone's face." They said, it's not really the point. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And then if that didn't do it, the gunshot did.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, we'll wrap up by talking about a few recent films you did. You have one out now that people can check out called Come to Daddy. you worked alongside Elijah Wood, and you had some really, really unusual dialogue in this film.
Yeah.
What attracted you to the role?
Well, I was kind of, you know, when I read it, I thought, you know, it was funny, and you know, political correctness was all in the air when we were doing, you know. So it you know, I found it very funny up to, you know, and then it turned into, you know, kind of ultra violence, and so I was kind of glad I was up first in the beginning of the movie rather than, you know, but they succeeded in, you know, because it goes so far, right? And it doesn't pull back at all.
No.
You know, keeps topping itself, right? So I was kind of glad I was in the beginning of it.
Yeah, and another great twist, which we won't spoil in case people haven't seen it, but Elijah Wood has said in interviews recently that he was intimidated by you. Did that show on set when you worked with him?
No.
Okay.
I don't know. No, he is very. Yeah, he grew up in the acting biz and survived it in a very graceful way. Yeah, great guy.
Yeah, very cool.
Great about making movies. You know, you meet these really interesting people. And yeah, good guy to work with.
Great. Yeah. And another one you did recently is Dreamland, where you worked with Bruce McDonald again, and you tackled two characters who were sort of polar opposites. Was this a tough film to work on in that regard?
No, it was great to work on because we were over in Luxembourg, which I never really. I thought it was just where banks had addresses, you know. But again, it was so many weird things happen when you're trying to make a movie. You know, you plan to do something, and it turns out completely the opposite. I don't want to go into exactly, but you know, we didn't have a lot of money, so there wasn't room to consider waiting for things that had been ordered wrong, you know. And we were in Luxembourg and based in Canada. So we kind of went with it and didn't look back. But it was kind of hairy. But fun. I don't know.
Right. What was your biggest way of differentiating the two characters, like through your acting? Just completely playing them different? Because I think as a viewer, some people might think they are the same character. They're just, you know, one character is imagining the other. So I was curious if you had linked the characters in any way or just played them completely different.
Well, I hope I played them differently. I mean, you know, the story, in a way, they are the same character, you know. But one of them is, he's shooting up heroin all the time, and the other isn't. Their concerns are different. One's a musician, the other's a kind of hitman, and so there wasn't. Yeah.
It's a rare thing, I think, for an actor to get to play two drastically different characters in the same universe in the same film. So I think that stayed out.
Yeah. It's kind of weird because I would talk to Bruce, how are you going to do it? There are, I think, a couple of different ways of doing it. But it's funny how when you have to play a scene with a character that, play both sides of a scene. Yeah.
Right. Did the trumpet player, was he ever given a name in the script? Or was he always referred to as just the trumpet player?
Yeah, I don't think he ever got named. No.
Great. Well, I believe Dreamland is available on Amazon Prime, so if anybody watching, definitely should check that one out. It's got Juliette Lewis and Henry Rollins, and of course Stephen playing a dual part. And I don't even know how to. If somebody asked me to give a synopsis of what the film's about,
good luck.
I would just say watch it, and determine what you think. And that's what's great about it. You never know where the story is going to go. Do you have any projects coming out now, or anything in the works that you want to mention?
Yeah, I did a little movie called Fixation that should be out in the next few months. Lisa, my wife, is writing a movie now that I'm going to be involved with. And Bruce is going to direct. So we got a few things going on. Yeah.
And you're working with Guillermo del Toro again as well, right?
Yeah.
Great. Right. Well, I could talk for hours, but we should probably wrap this up. So it was fun chatting with you, Stephen, getting to know a little bit more about you. But I do want to wrap up with one final question that I ask everybody that I talk to. It's probably going to stump you a little bit. If you could pick any director to work with to direct you as the lead in a film, and any actor to work alongside you, which actor would you pick and which director would you pick? And there are two caveats. They both still have to be alive, and they have to be people you've never worked with before.
Wow. God damn. I'll tell you what, I'm going to think about that, and I'm going to call you later tonight. Then.
Okay. All right. I can see you in two directors come to mind. I can see you in a David Lynch film, fitting in really well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to work with him.
And David Fincher.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you let me know what comes to your mind.
How did you know that?
Because they just seem to hire versatile actors. They seem to hire guys that can hang in their universes. And I think you'd fit in well.
Yeah.
And what are there any like modern actors that you watch now that you say, man, they're really good?
Oh yeah, there's a lot. What you call it? I'm just watching Arrested Development. Did you ever see that?
I've heard of it. I've not seen it yet. I want to check it out.
Yeah, there's a Canadian actor on there, Will Arnett.
Okay, yeah.
He's terrific.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Absolutely.
A multitude of actors that are really good. Yeah.
Great. Well, for fans watching, how can they keep up with you? You're not on any social media, correct?
Yeah.
So they'll just keep up with you through Google and through casting news, I guess. And if you guys want to follow Full Empire Promotions, we post things on there.
Yeah.
Do you ever have any interest in getting on social media?
Yeah, I've thought about it, kind of toyed with it, but then yeah, I've never done it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. That's what I keep saying.
You should make one just for your art. You know, maybe a social media where it's nothing, just all about your art.
Yeah. I keep thinking about Facebook, but then I loathe everything about Facebook. And then it gets into, I gotta do something. Yeah, I do. You're right. I will. I'm gonna.
Great. Well, we'll keep everybody posted on when that comes available. And we're going to wrap this up. Thanks to everyone who joined us live. And you still can book your Zoom session with Stephen at fullempirepromotions.com. We're gonna take like a 5-minute break and then go over and do that. So thanks, Stephen, for your time, and we'll see you shortly.
Thank you, Dominic.
Thanks a lot. And when you want to get out of here, you just click the red X that says "Leave Studio." It's on the bottom right there, under your picture. Should say "Leave Studio."
No, it doesn't.
Okay, I'll do it for you. All right, thanks so much, everybody who joined us. Hopefully, we got to your question. There were a lot of them coming in, but we only had time for a certain amount. Thanks to the Daily Jaws for joining us. It's pretty cool, and I hope we'll see you at some of the upcoming events we have coming up. We're back to doing this in person, so we'll be limiting these virtual events, but we'll still try to do 1 or 2 a month if we can. So head on over to fullempirepromotions.com and you'll see all the upcoming opportunities there. And once again, if you want to Zoom chat with Stephen, those are still available, as well as autographs and signed Funko Pops from the strain. Limited amount of these. So thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.